Stranger Things Season 5 is right around the corner and will be dropped in 3 separate parts. And today, I'm going to be breaking down some of the personal gripes I have with the show in general, but more specifically Season 4. Before I get started, please be sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with the latest videos just like this, and if you agree or disagree, let me know below. And I will be spoiling some major plot points from Season 4 and before that, so please be sure to watch the show before watching this video. Alright, so I'm going to start off by saying that I'm actually a big fan of the Stranger Things series. It brought a level of nostalgia, a level of innocence and fantasy and mystery, something that we used to see in movies like E.T. and The Goonies back in the 90s and the 80s. Stranger Things perfectly encapsulated the idea of nostalgia with its great soundtrack, great cast of young actors and characters, along with quirky and interesting adult characters as well. It had a sense of mystery, it had a sense of adventure. I really liked how they incorporated the era that the show takes place in, along with sort of this horror element with the Demogorgons and the Upside Down. It really combined all these different genres. Those humorous moments, those heartwarming moments, moments of romance, moments of heartbreak, moments of action, and everything you could think of, really, when it comes to characters. Plus, the acting and the casting was perfect. Millie Bobby Brown as Eleven. The entire cast of characters just really encapsulated their characters so well, and I really enjoyed it. Season 1 for me was really solid, and Season 2 was even better than that. And then came Season 3, which I really enjoyed how they brought us into the late 80s with the Starcourt Mall and all that stuff. It was really cool. I really liked the theming and the vibe of that season in particular. Then we fast forward over to Season 4, and to me, this is where the show hit its decline in a way. Not to say that it became flat out bad, but to me, there was a definite and clear downgrade of quality in writing. So one of the main issues that I had with Stranger Things Season 4 was that there was far too many characters, and this can almost be said for the season before it as well. In many shows, they add characters, but typically they kill off characters, especially when there's a big group of people. Take a show like The Walking Dead or Game of Thrones. As time goes on, characters start to die, and usually there's big set pieces around these moments. But this didn't really seem to be the case for Stranger Things in general, honestly, but more so in Season 4, when things are really ramping up and there is death on the line. They really didn't take the opportunity to advance this or at least minimize the group in some way. I feel like they just continue to add on more and more characters rather than level them out. And it's fine to have a big group, but if you're not going to take the advantage of this and make these big set pieces, then you're missing out on stuff. So when it came to Season 4, they had this large group, several different things going on, which is a common theme throughout the series. They usually split up the group in different things going on all at the same time, and it works very well for the formula of the show, and I like that. We have Steve and Dustin doing their thing, and then the other side we have Jonathan, Mike, and Will doing their own thing, and then we have the adults doing their own thing as well, with Joyce and Hopper trying to escape the Russian camp. And while I like a lot of these characters and they've developed them enough in the previous seasons to make you care for them, I feel like adding more and more and more characters and not killing any of them off actually creates a bit of bloat, and you're not able to really flesh out a lot of the characters any more than they already are. And you're also going to be competing for screen time. I know that they do these in groups, and like I said, it works. But unfortunately, you need to actually start getting rid of some of them, or at least creating some kind of a compelling case to take some of them out of the story. I know we don't like to see these characters die or anything like that, but unfortunately, it is part of any great show, and you could use it for the narrative's advantage. But the only character that really dies, or one of the big characters that dies, in Season 4 is the one character that they added to Season 4, which was the character of Eddie. He's introduced in Season 4, and he became a fan favorite from what I saw, only to be killed off at the very end of the very season that he was introduced in. This to me seemed like a cop-out, and with all the characters, especially the long-running characters that we have, it was pretty interesting that they added the character only to kill them off, and every single other character that's been in the show just survived. Now, I'm sure there's an argument to be made that maybe no character has to die or anything like that, but when it comes to the Vecna and stuff like that, it's dumbfounding disappointing that none of the main characters are really targeted or rather killed by him. He definitely has his way with a few side characters, but what about the main characters? This brings me to my next point. So this is definitely going to be a controversial hot take, if you will, but in Chapter 4, Episode 4, Dear Billy, Max finds herself possessed by the Vecna, and it is one of the highest rated, if not the highest rated, episode in the season. And I remember hearing about this episode, there was a lot of buzz around it, particularly with the song that was used. They used Running Up That Hill. It kind of became a big song at the moment, and it was a really cool, epic scene. You see Max running in this sort of completely blood red world as they try to save her from being killed and possessed by the Vecna. And if you saw the show, you know that they succeed in that and just barely save Max from the brink of death. And I think that choosing this particular character, especially with her connection to Billy, which ends up dying in the season before that, they do a call back to that in this particular episode, and I think that's used to good effect. It adds a sort of heartbreaking and sadder tone to the episode and to the character in general. Max has a very troubled childhood. They do allude to that a lot. There's not a lot of people that she can rely on in her personal life besides her friends. That's why she really always seems fed up with everything. A lot of people do like her character, and I could definitely see why. I like Max as a character, but in this particular episode, they have all the set piece and the perfect moment to kill the character off. I know obviously we don't want to kill off any of the characters, but every single good character in every single good show ever of all time always has a good proper send-off. An epic moment, something that really stands out from all the seasons. And we can all think of those moments throughout all the shows that we've watched. So it's that one death scene from a main character that really hits home and really drives a wedge in what's going on. And I feel like in this particular episode, they set it up perfectly. They had all the moments. They have an epic moment where she's running and her friends are trying to save her. That would be the moment. And it goes back to what I was saying. Too many characters, if you have a moment like that, they needed to have taken it, they needed to have executed on it, no pun intended, and just killed off Max. And it would have been heartbreaking, it would have been all the buzz, and would have even had the episode be even more revered because of that, and made the song even more impactful. We obviously want a redemption, but when there's so many characters, this is the moment to do it. Or choose another character. Maybe it doesn't have to be Max. Maybe this could have been any other main character in the core group, because there are plenty of them to continue. Plus, in my opinion, I think that it would have been a good reason to go after the Vecna more than ever before. They were trying to do what they always do, which is basically save Hawkins from this evil force once again, if not more people past Hawkins. But they do that every single season, and in this one, they're trying to do the same thing again. But why not shift the narrative? Why not make it personal this time? Why not, you killed one of our friends and now we're going to come after you? And that would be the driving factor for everyone, especially Eleven, which is her best friend, and Lucas, which was her boyfriend. So we had these two main peoples in her life, along with everybody else in the group, because she is a core member. So they had everything going for it, but they decided not to. And then that is also a driving factor in the season. It continues on with it. They do make it work and figure out a reason, but to me, that was a moment that I feel like they missed out on. Another thing I didn't like about Season 4 was what they did with some of the characters. With the introduction of people like Argyle, Jonathan ended up becoming a pothead, basically. That's one of the main storylines that happened with that group. He's a total stoner. I totally don't understand why they went with that approach. Personally, I found that more annoying than funny, and I thought that Argyle guy was pretty annoying. I don't know why. I don't know why he got on my nerves throughout the season, but he did, and I don't like what they did with that character at all, especially Jonathan. I don't like that they went with that angle. Like, I get that they went with the sort of quiet stoner kid, like he was more on the quiet side, but yeah, I found that more annoying than anything. And also another character they completely changed up in the 4th season was Robin, played by Maya Hawke. I feel like her character was a lot different in Season 3, like a lot different. In this one, she's an anxious, shy mess of a character, while in Season 3, I remember her being more of a snarky, sarcastic sort of character. This is not particularly a bad change, change by any means, but it was a big drastic change in my opinion. I might be remembering it wrong, but she was completely different from what I remember from season 3 to season 4. But that's just personal preference on both those cases in my opinion. I think that obviously these characters are going to change, but you know, those two were pretty jarring in my opinion over the course of season 3 to 4. And my final gripe with Season 4 was the introduction and the logic behind Vecna, the villain of the season, and the villain of the upcoming season as well. So one thing that I just don't understand at all is his plan and the logic behind it. So basically, he's trying to create a gateway between the real world and the Upside Down, and he does this by killing teens, storing their consciousness in his mindscape, and using their deaths to open the portal. So he has this plan in place, and there's not really any rules set upon it. I mean, he possesses teens over the course of a couple of weeks, it seems like, or a couple of days. He's just possessing them over and over again until he gets to Max, and then he fails to get Max. And it's at this very moment where the Vecna stops making sense, because after he fails to get her, I don't understand why he didn't just try to possess her once again, or possess any other teen. I mean, I'm not understanding why he couldn't just have immediately tried to possess her the day after. There's this long stretch of time between when the Vecna failed to get Max and when he tries to possess her again. I don't really understand what's going on in between that time period, but it gives all our main characters plenty of time to set up and create this long, over-the-top plan, which they usually do. It's all fun and games, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but they do create this big coordinated plan and everything. But what is the Vecna doing during this time period? That's what I never really made sense to me. I thought it was a pretty big plot hole as to why he wouldn't just immediately try to attack them again. If his plan is to create all these portals and then, you know, create this big gateway by killing X amount of teens or possessing them, then why didn't he just try it again, or try to get some other teen or something, or someone else that makes sense in the storyline to enact his plan? That made no sense to me. So that was a big oversight from the Duffer Brothers and the other writers as well. I'm not really understanding what happened with that. Also, on another note, Vecna falls into the same kind of trap of monologuing instead of doing what he's supposed to do. And when I say he monologues, I mean he just goes on and on and on, talking to his victim, whether it be Max or any of the other people or 11, and he just keeps going and going instead of actually enacting his plan. And as these things usually go, this opens up a huge window for the good guys to come and save the victim. And that's exactly what happens. And to me, that's just bad writing, honestly. I think that a lot of movies and TV shows do this a lot. When a villain has a set plan and they're trying to do this plan, instead of just doing it, they sit there talking and reveling in the moment with their opponent rather than just actually doing it, whether it be killing them or doing something else. And the plan already together, there's so many things in season 4 in general. Obviously, we don't have a lot of realistic expectations when it comes to these shows, but come on. I mean, I was laughably rolling my eyes when a malnourished Hopper took out a Demogorgon on one-on-one combat. I mean, that's laughable. That's absolutely laughable. But anywho, the new season's coming. I am optimistic about it. I'm not gonna hate on it or anything. I'm gonna watch it. I'm going in with limited expectations. Not a bad way. I'm just right in the middle. You know, if it's great, I'm happy about it. If it's not, also won't be too surprised. But like I said, I am a fan of Stranger Things. I really do like it. I really do like the series. Love the soundtrack. Love a lot of the characters, the vibe they hit. They completely hit it. It was the perfect encapsulation of everything you'd want in a feel-good show like that. So they completely nailed it the first 3 seasons. Season 4 to me is a little lackluster. Didn't hate it. I just think that in comparison, not nearly as good. And in season 5, I'm really hoping that they bring all the emotional moments. They bring all the impact that they had in the previous seasons before that. And also, you know, I see that they're still adding more characters. I don't know who these people are in the trailer, but yeah, again, it goes back to too many characters. They need to trim it out a little bit, you know what I mean? Or something. But anyways, let me know below what you're most excited for about season 5, and please be sure to hit that subscribe button, stay up to date with the latest videos just like this.